Delegates attending the third joint mission to the Democratic Republic of Congo jetted into Kinshasa for a conference to be held in the capital. Over 250 delegates drawn from the host country, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania, were welcomed by Equity BCDC Managing Director William Lam.
We are in Kinshasa, but Kinshasa is only a dot on the DRC map. And my dream is we continue to embark on this journey, that we multiply touch point in terms of beginning to really size how big this country is, how we can really take opportunities across the many cities, the many areas where we believe can play a role.
Presenting the profile, Mulamba said the bank is a strategic partner in this mission, and with extensive experience in financing, it is essential to the country's economic prosperity and growth.
Equity BCDC, our bank, is much more than just a financial institution. We are a catalyst for growth and development committed to promoting economic growth and progress in the DRC. We firmly believe that every investment in this country is an investment in the better future for our people, for our communities. The DRC, my country, your country, has been blessed with abundant natural resources, a very dynamic and young population, and a booming market. However, to turn this potential into reality, we need strong partners.
Mulamba said equity delivery of services is diversified through almost 8,500 agencies and 76 branches. Although it has a customer base of 2.4 million, there's a huge scope for a bigger base.
This is where you, investors, come in. Your presence in this great nation, this vibrant city of Kinshasa, today testifies to your interest in our markets and your willingness to work with us to shape the economic future of the Democratic Republic of Congo.
Equity BCDC operations are under 5 segments by direction, with West, where Kinshasa lies, the South, East, North, and Central regions under the leadership of a Deputy Managing Director. Discussing the expanse of the West region and the opportunities that obtain Equity BCDC, Deputy Managing Director for the Western region, Timon Toto, said the entire area is widely diversified.
When you talk about Kinshasa, you also have manufacturing. We have beverage companies, we have cement companies, and a vast range of opportunities into the manufacturing. But also, you can imagine that 30 million inhabitants have to be fed. There's also agriculture. Agriculture is mostly into the Back Congo. You have a very fertile land, and you have a few very strong, very robust companies involved in the agribusiness. We have a few ports into the Western region. We have the port of Matadi, we have the port of Boma, and now a deep sea port is being constructed in the Moanda region. So the area is very, very diversified, ranging from government to manufacturing, to agriculture, and also with the port opportunity, the trading and FMCG imports.
The meeting included panel discussions with National Agency for the Promotion of Investments, ANAPI Director of Investments, Michael Mwasapu, illustrating how the agency is supporting micro, small, and medium enterprises as key to economic growth of DRC.
Dans la phase de pré-investissement, nous fournissons toutes les informations nécessaires devant permettre à un investisseur de prendre la décision de pouvoir venir en RDC. Dès que l'investisseur est là, nous allons l'accompagner dans la mission de prospection, aussi bien à Kinshasa qu'à l'intérieur du pays. Dès lors qu'il va prendre maintenant la décision d'investir, nous allons l'aider à créer son entreprise au guichet unique de création d'entreprise.
The trade attaché at the Kenya Embassy in DRC, Eric Nabwana, said entry to DRC through equity offers the entrepreneurs an opportunity for financial support, but also smoother completing of agreements between partners.
The entry through the bank offers an opportunity to Kenyan entrepreneurs in terms of financial products and in terms of completing the transaction between the business communities or the business person, either in Kenya and DRC. And equity-based DSA provides that platform that guarantees predictability, certainty in transactions. And it has enhanced confidence in those who have already exploited the market as they are able to reach a wide scope of clientele.
Nabwana said far from people's perception, DRC is not too far away and indeed accessible in short flights to Kinshasa, Lubumbashi, and Goma.
DRC is served by many companies from Kenya that are in transport and logistics. We have the Kenya Airways, which flies 7 times in a week. In DRC, they have also a freighter. In the east, we have Jumbo Jet that is also flying there 5 times in a week. And they are likely to support entrepreneurs who wish to exploit the eastern side of the market. When you go to the southern part, we have Lubumbashi and Kenya Airways flights there. They have also a 1-week freighter flight to Lubumbashi.
The mission included site tours to different customer establishments where the delegates had first-hand information on opportunities for partnership. Among the establishments the delegates visited were the offices of agriculture business company Strategos, where one of the delegates, Michael Muthe, signed a memorandum of understanding for joint venture in maize production.
When you look at Kenya as a marketplace, we are very crowded. We are competing over very few opportunities. But when you just go to DR Congo, only 3 hours, you find that there are more opportunities. And there are very, very many low-lying fruits, business-wise, and especially in agriculture. Food security is one of the priorities of the government of DRC. If you can go into food production in this country, you don't even think about export. The demand here is too high. The people here have the purchasing power. This is a very, very rich country.
For Monica Nduta, on her 4th trip to DRC, the opportunities in the country are too good to be ignored.
What struck me about DRC, the state of roads they have, I thought of working on a solution on the Maram roads. Now that has made me come to DRC and see whether I can be able to meet contractors and give them that solution. It's a binder of Maram roads. We formulate it depending with the type of soil on a particular road. We did a prototype at Aru Ariwara Road, which is in Ituri province. We did a section of about 200 meters. The road is still steady. People are quite excited about it. I've gotten a bit of inquiries from Isiro and South Kivu.
The trade missions introduced by Equity are gaining currency as a platform to achieve Africa Recovery and Resilience Plan's target that by 2030, Equity's customer base crossed the 100 million mark with 5 million borrowing businesses, 25 million borrowing consumers, and creation of 25 million direct jobs.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's a great pleasure to welcome you to this special edition of the Equity Bank Uganda Knowledge Series. We are honored to have you join us this afternoon for what promises to be a dynamic and insightful discussion on exploring trade and investment opportunities in Uganda. My name is Claire Tumwesije, and I'm the head of Marketing and Corporate Communications, and I will be speaking on behalf of the Managing Director of Equity Bank Uganda, Mr. Gift Shoko. Our vision at Equity Bank is to be the champion of the socio-economic prosperity of the people of Africa. It is through platforms like these, the knowledge series that we are having today, that we aim to foster a meaningful dialogue, sharing actionable insights and inspiring collaboration among key stakeholders to unlock Uganda's vast economic potential. We are privileged to host a distinguished panel of experts and technocrats who are here with us today from the Uganda Investment Authority, the Private Sector Foundation of Uganda, Ministry of Trade, as well as a valued Equity Bank customer who will share their first-hand experience of investing and doing business in Uganda. Today's discussion will cover a broad range of topics, including Uganda's investment climate and emerging opportunities, strategies to facilitate private sector growth and investment, doing business in Uganda, trade, regional trade integration and market access, and Equity's role as an enabler of trade and investment, both locally and globally. And at the heart of our operations at Equity Bank is our role in financial intermediation. We are proud to actively support key GDP-driving sectors of the economy, including food and agriculture, trade and investment, manufacturing, tourism, health, extractives and minerals, among others. To the potential investors who have tuned in today, by working closely with government institutions and relevant agencies, we will help you to seamlessly set up and navigate the local business environment. It is this collaborative approach that ensures that both local and foreign investors can tap into Uganda's opportunities with clarity and confidence. As the second largest bank in Uganda by customer base, we are uniquely positioned to provide financial solutions and institutional partnerships that catalyze economic transformation. So today's webinar also serves as a precursor to the upcoming trade mission, which will take place in May, where we will be inviting stakeholders to physically explore Uganda's investment opportunities. So we encourage as many of you as possible to participate in this trade mission. It's a powerful opportunity to connect directly with local industries, policymakers, and fellow investors on the ground. So whether you're joining us from Uganda, across the continent, or from abroad somewhere, we hope you will engage actively, ask questions, draw inspiration from the diverse experience we have in the room today and insights that will be shared. Thank you once again to our esteemed panelists and to each and every one of you online for joining us. We look forward to a fruitful discussion. And as we start, it is my pleasure now to welcome Priya Chana, Associate Director of Strategy and Capital Allocation at Equity Group, to tell us why equity, and also to take us through the Africa Recovery and Resilience Plan. Priya.
Good afternoon. Thank you so much for that. That was wonderful. It is a pleasure to be part of today's important dialogue. Hello, there you go. Focused on unlocking opportunities across Uganda and the wider East Africa region. I'm here to sort of address the why Equity Group is uniquely positioned as a trusted partner and how our Africa Recovery and Resilience Plan forms the backbone of our strategy to transform lives and livelihoods. Equity is more than just a bank. We're a purpose-driven institution rooted in a mission to transform lives, give dignity, and expand opportunities for wealth creation. With over 18 million customers across 6 countries in the region, and now operating at group level, Equity has become the largest financial institution in East and Central Africa, On the screen, you will see just some of our statistics and data. I'm not going to read them out to you, but please feel free, and we will share this after the seminar and the knowledge series is done, so you can look at it in more detail. We are locally grounded and globally connected, is something I'd love to say. Our model is inclusive, supporting MSMEs, large corporates, rural farmers, cross-border traders, international clients, and young innovators alike. Our success is shared. We reinvest in communities through our social impact arm, the Equity Group Foundation, which has to date mobilized over $700 million in grants. So why equity? Because we have the financial muscle, the track record, the values, and the commitment aligned with sustainable social and economic impact. Let me speak to our strategic initiative. It is called the Africa Recovery and Resilience Plan. It was born during COVID and has come to become a true North Star for not just ourselves, but a Marshall Plan for a number of organizations, institutions, and countries. Now more than ever, Africa needs bold, coordinated, scalable interventions. So in response, we have created the ARP, is what we love to refer to it as, the Africa Recovery and Resilience Plan. It's an ambitious initiative designed to catalyze economic growth through private sector-led development. Our strategy focuses on key sectors, including agriculture, manufacturing, trade, SME development, financial inclusion for every member of society, aligning with Africa's broader economic goals and the Africa Continental Free Trade Area Agreement. By leveraging innovative financial solutions, strategic partnerships, and capacity building through our foundation and our bank, the Africa Recovery Resilience Plan is well positioned to drive sustainable economic recovery and resilience across the continent. The ARP is aimed at catalyzing a demand-driven synergistic transformation of Africa and is underpinned by capacitating and enhancing productivity of raw material producers, integrating primary producers to more coordinated Africa productive manufacturing capacities in a formalized and integrated approach through contracting, training, and financial access. Connecting these primary and secondary sectors to global supply chains and capital markets that are now focused on reducing concentrated risks with increased focus on accessibility. We're taking Africa, with your support, to the world and bringing the world to the continent. Equity Group's execution of the Africa Recovery Resilience Plan is underpinned by a tri-engine business model that includes social, economic, and sustainability engines that serve to capacitate the value chains, both social, sustainable, and economic. We provide holistic financial solutions to productive ecosystems, and we support development through the green economy and sustainable initiatives. The ARP is anchored on 6 integrated pillars, which you can see in more detail on the screen. And again, this will be shared with you. 3 vertical pillars: food and agriculture and extractives, what we take out the ground. And we like to work with our partners on unlocking productivity and providing market access across the value chain actors. As we develop capacity and improve yields per hectare, we promote industrialization and regional trade integration through manufacturing, trade, and services by encouraging local value addition in continent. As we do that, we look at the trade and investment, stimulating intra-regional and intracontinental trade, opening up a market of 400 million clients within the East Africa trading bloc. And our trade missions, which AQ will speak to shortly, are a key and integral deliverable under our strategy. These three vertical pillars are underpinned by our three horizontal ones, whereby we have SMEs as our fourth pillar. We catalyze entrepreneurship and connect value chains and trade corridors, providing the tools and the training and the financing to drive entrepreneurship, formalize MSMEs, train them. The next one is the social impact pillar and environmental transformation. We invest in education, health, environmental sustainability, and innovation through our foundation. And then lastly, technology-enabled economies, driving digitization and innovation. We're proud to say we're part of a global program to digitize MSMEs, farmers, and provide financial inclusion to the most marginalized of communities. Our overall objective is to have inclusivity of 100 million businesses and consumers, a multiplier effect of 5 million borrowing businesses and 25 million borrowing customers. We aim to drive employment up to 15 million Africans, 25 million jobs, and 25 indirect jobs servicing the community. With this, I hope that I have sufficiently presented why equity and our strategy. These pillars are not just theoretical, they are already being implemented through our country level strategies, and we're seeing results and improved resilience and growth. What this means for Uganda. Uganda is a country of tremendous potential with a young population. We are looking to drive cross-border trade, investment in green energy, pharmaceuticals, and a variety of sectors. Our digital mission webinar series like today is designed to connect local businesses and policymakers with regional and international partners. Uganda is a key part of this vision, and we're committed to growing together. I would like to now encourage you all to ask questions, post your comments in the chat. I will be handing over to my colleague, Abdul Kader Hamza, our Group Director, International Trade Relations, Equity Group Holdings, who will speak to you in more detail about the equity trade missions and the overview of the mission coming up to Uganda and Tanzania next month. Thank you very much for your time, and thank you so much for being here. It's been a real honor and a pleasure. Over to you, AQ.
Thanks a lot, Priya. Thanks for the introduction. It's an absolute pleasure seeing such a big audience on this webinar. I am AQ Hamza. I'm the Group Director for International Trade here at Equity. And the team that you're seeing here is a team that drives these trade missions. I will essentially give you a brief background of our trade missions, give you some information on what to expect on the upcoming trade missions to Tanzania and Uganda. As you heard from Priya, we're driven by our social and economic transformation plan for Africa, the African Recovery and Resilience Plan. The three of the plan is a key element. Pillar 3 is a key element of the plan. It focuses on trade and investment. It focuses on how we work with businesses from the region, how we work with our clients, our stakeholders, business who want our clients, and business from outside of the region, helping them, one, trade between each other, and two, for those who are looking to come and explore opportunities here, how we create the right sort of platforms, how we facilitate them in exploring those opportunities. Many of you might know intra-Africa trade today, for example, sits at just under 15%. That needs to be improved vastly if we are to transform Africa. We need to start doing business with each other. As one of Sub-Saharan Africa's largest financial institutions, we at Equity were uniquely positioned to support businesses within the region, support them in doing business with each other, helping them identify the right sort of opportunities in the markets that are kind of adjoining where they work at the moment, introducing them to the right sort of people in the other markets, and so on. So what we do is we work with businesses from the region. We take them on trade missions. On the trade missions, we do a number of things that would help them explore those opportunities. We also work with individual businesses, especially international businesses that are looking to come into the markets. We arrange programs of visit programs for them, introducing them to the right sort of stakeholders in government, right sort of stakeholders within the private sector, essentially helping them meet people that they can trust to do business. This journey at Equity, the trade mission journey at Equity started in 2021. We hosted, or when we led when we led 300 businesses to DRC. This was in the middle of COVID, when the team took these businesses to 4 cities in DRC to help explore the opportunities in those markets. Since then, our trade missions have grown exponentially. We've taken businesses not just from the region, but also from Europe, from the Middle East, India, Asia, to the markets in which we operate. So we've taken them to DRC, brought them to Kenya, taken them to Rwanda, Tanzania, and Uganda. And generally, the way these business forums, I'll explain how these business forums work, because that will also give you an indication of what to expect in Tanzania and Uganda. Generally, these trade missions will include a business forum where the traveling businesses will get an opportunity to meet local businesses reflecting the sectors, the traveling delegates. So if you're coming from logistics, from manufacturing, from renewable energy, the delegates you will meet on the ground at the business forum will come from the same sectors. Then business forum will also act as a platform for us to facilitate targeted B2B meetings for you, and also meetings with key government stakeholders. And they also include a series of field visits. So you'll get to visit local businesses that are operating at the moment, get a look and feel as to how business is done on the ground. What type of infrastructure is available, what type of power is available, etc. on the ground. And once these trade missions, so once you are on the ground, you've explored the opportunities, etc. Then we have a system through which we follow up. So today we have people in our team who follow up with businesses that came on our trade missions as far back as 2021. So we don't just take you and leave you there. We constantly engage with you to figure out what type of opportunities you saw, what type of opportunities you're interested in. And then we try and see how we can make those opportunities come to fruition and support you with that. And that might mean, again, post-mission connecting you to people out there, post-mission looking at what type of financing opportunities we can bring to you, post-mission checking if there are any bottlenecks that you have, either in government or either with government stakeholders or financial stakeholders. And we use our presence, our footprint in the market to unlock those opportunities. So this year we've got 5 trade missions coming up. So the first one, like we've just been talking, is to Uganda and to Tanzania and Uganda. So we'll be in Tanzania on the 19th, 20th, and 21st of May, in Uganda on the 21st, 22nd, and 23rd of May. Then we would be going to DRC in September, and we'll be going to Rwanda and Kenya. So DRC will be from the 15th to the 19th of September. Then we'll be in Rwanda on the 3rd and 4th of November, and we'll be bringing people to Kenya from the 5th to the 7th of November. Most of these missions will have anywhere between, say, 50 to 90 business leaders. It'll be a mix of regional businesses and businesses from international businesses. So to Tanzania, for example, we have businesses from France, from the UAE, from India, from Sri Lanka, from Europe, from other parts of Europe coming to Tanzania and Uganda. And of course, we have businesses from the region that will be attending. In addition to the in-person trade missions that I've just spoken about, we also have a series of webinars, which is part of our digital series. You can just see the calendar on the screen. We're happy to share the calendar with you. What we'll also do is, towards the end of this webinar, or shortly, we'll put up the link on the chat for anyone interested in coming to Tanzania and Uganda. so that you can express your interest to attend, and our team will get in touch and sort out the rest for you. Moving on, just quickly running through the program for the upcoming trade mission to Uganda, to Tanzania and Uganda. Delegates from the region and international delegates will arrive in Tanzania, in Dar es Salaam, on the 18th of May. In the evening of the 18th of May, we'll have an informal cocktail for the visiting delegates to meet each other. The 19th of May, we'll have the business forum. So that's the opportunity for the visiting delegates to meet local businesses, as well as the government stakeholders. The 20th of, so that's in Dar es Salaam. The 20th of May, the whole delegation will then visit Zanzibar, where again, visiting delegates will have an opportunity to meet businesses from Zanzibar on the ground, key government stakeholders in Zanzibar. The 21st of May, delegates will go on field visits in Dar es Salaam, exploring opportunities out there, meeting local businesses, etc. And on the evening of the 21st of May, we fly to Uganda. Uganda, on the 22nd of May, we have a series of field visits again. They will be visiting manufacturing plants, some of the other key sectors, etc., for those who are visiting to get an idea of how business is done in Uganda. That's on the 22nd. On the 23rd of May, we'll have a business forum, which gives the visiting delegates an opportunity to meet local Ugandan businesses in Kampala, explore partnerships, explore opportunities, etc. Have a concluding dinner on the 23rd of May. Then on the 24th of May, delegates will depart. Like I said earlier, once delegates depart, we'll start a follow-up process. Our team will get in touch with you to find out what sort of opportunities, see now then how we can help. Just to conclude, also to let you know, when you register, you'll be asked to go through a detailed questionnaire, which will essentially ask you, what your interests in these markets are, what sectors you're interested in, who you would like to meet, who you would like to speak to, etc. We'll use that information to arrange the targeted B2B meetings for you. So these visits are very targeted to help you identify the right sort of partners on the ground, right sort of businesses, opportunities, etc. Me and my team, we are available to answer any questions you have. So please feel free to post your questions on the chat. We'll answer them on this webinar, or if we don't have enough time, then by email after. We very much look forward to seeing a lot of you this trade. Thank you very much for the opportunity, and I pass it on to the host. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, AQ. Just a quick interjection. I would like to invite Ms. Anzetse Were, the Group Economist and Director of Research. She'll be looking at the macroeconomic overview of the region and Africa. Anzetse, are you online?
Yes, I am.
Please go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And I'll keep it brief and try and focus on the dynamic happenings that I think are on top of mind for a lot of business leaders. I'll just start with the global economy because it is having an impact. If you look at the Ugandan economy, and I'll start there, one of the big things we're seeing is some of the key actions by particularly the Trump administration regarding the suspension of development aid assistance is beginning to have first and second level impacts on the Ugandan economy. I'll explain later if I have time. The other big thing we've been watching is the tariff dance the Trump administration has been putting us through. I think we had started with an initial series of tariffs, then were then reduced to 10% tariffs on all countries except China. And then now we're seeing even on the China tariffs from the US, those may be going down. Why does this matter? I think, first of all, the main way the business environment is being affected, one, by the suspension of aid, two, by the tariff question, is when you look at the role that aid plays in introducing foreign exchange into economies such as Uganda and Tanzania, that I've also been asked to talk about. When that is suddenly suspended over prolonged or uncertain periods of time, we then have to watch things like the impact on the exchange rate and the impact on inflation. Some of the other things that we're seeing in terms of business environment, and I'll just start with some of the more challenging things and then go to the better news because there's a lot of good news. is there have been key sectoral impacts of the suspension of aid in countries like Uganda and Tanzania. The main sectors that are being hit are the health sector most directly because of the amount of support that US agencies provided to that sector. Of course, this can provide an opportunity for private sector health players to come in and fill the gap. But there is, from a macroeconomic view, a bit of a concern there. Regarding the tariff factor, the main thing that we're seeing in terms of how our region is being affected is twofold. One is the focus on Africa. What we had found in the initial raft of tariffs is that Africa was quite focused on in terms of the tariffs above 10%. And Uganda and Tanzania weren't, but it began to signal that the Trump administration does have a focus on Africa. And then the second thing we're seeing is now shifting to some of the good news that is actually beginning to have some net silver linings that I think, particularly in the business environment for Uganda and Tanzania, you can begin to leverage. So just as I wrap up, I just want to point out the silver linings, and I think some of the key things we're watching and seeing coming through to the rest of the quarter. One, expect low oil prices. Of course, for Uganda, eventually this will be a negative, but currently you're good. Until you start exporting oil and you want crude to be up, you're still going to be a net importer, and that's the same with Tanzania. We're going to be seeing the price of oil continue to go down, and this will bring a lot of relief, particularly on the inflation side of things and the cost of transport and logistics. The second big thing we're going to see is probably a weakening dollar. Particularly as we go into the quarter and we continue to see quite a bit of policy uncertainty and volatility coming out of the US administration, some of the net effects we're seeing there is a weaker dollar. So again, this is good news because if you have imports or you're really exposed to dollar from an import perspective, this will be useful. The third thing you can expect is continuing global disinflation. That means lowering inflation. Uganda and Tanzania have been quite fortunate. Your inflation is being managed very well. As food production has been quite robust. So I think for your countries, expecting a manageable inflation environment, which is very different from 1 or 2 years ago, is really quite welcome. And I think the final point I'm going to point out is exchange rate dynamics. We've seen a significant stabilization of the Ugandan shilling against the US dollar. There will be some pressure on depreciation there, but I think again, compared to last year or the year before, we're seeing a much more stable exchange rate environment, particularly for both Uganda and Tanzania. So I think just as a closing point, one of the things we're finding is there are lots of silver linings in some of the unconventional macroeconomic dynamics we're dealing with globally. A key concern that I did want to point out is the East DRC conflict, the regionalization of that, and also other countries going into conflict. But the main point of, I think, opportunities in Uganda and Tanzania are very strong this year. And you're supported by a stable exchange rate, you're supported by low inflation, you're supported probably by a weakening dollar, and your real economy engines are ticking along quite well. So I think if there are any questions on the presentation, particularly regarding some of the global factors, I'll be happy to take them. But I think we'll continue to see the region drive growth in Africa and also be performing above global GDP growth for the year. So there are a lot of positives that I think from a business perspective to bear in mind as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Anzetse. I hope you can appreciate the upload on this end from the team. I want to appreciate Claire, Priya, AQ, and of course, Anzetse for your overview over this conversation and setting the stage for what should be an exciting conversation. My name is Maurice Mugisha, and I will be hosting this panel. We'll have about just 40 minutes to talk about investment and trade here in Uganda and build a picture for our virtual audience. I will introduce my panel very quickly before I invite our very first speaker. Just next to me is Cleophas Dorere, who is the Commissioner for External Trade at the Ministry of Trade, Industries and Cooperatives. And next to him is Ms. Rita Mugura. She is the Deputy Director, Investment Promotion at the Uganda Investment Authority. And next to her is our CEO of the Private Sector Foundation of Uganda, Mr. Stephen Asimwe, and our Equity Bank client, Mr. Roshan Singh, who is the Managing Director, Ramex Petroleum Uganda. And just before we dive into the conversation, allow me to invite Rita, who will set the stage on the investment front before I then invite our panelists to join us in the conversation. So Rita, please take to the floor and introduce us to our conversation on the investment opportunities in Uganda. Over to you, Rita.
Thank you, Maurice. Good afternoon, everyone. As introduced, my name is Rita Mugula. I'm the Deputy Director at Uganda Investment Authority for Investment Promotion. Briefly, I'm going to give an overview of the investment climate in Uganda. But to introduce Uganda Investment Authority, this is the government agency that is mandated to promote, attract, facilitate, and retain value-adding investments. These are both foreign and domestic into the country. We majorly focus in 4 areas where we promote the opportunities by developing the promotional products of the available investment opportunities in the country. We operate a one-stop center, which is basically to create a seamless service in licensing and issuance of permits to ease business in Uganda. We provide a business advisory role and policy advocacy as well. And then we manage and develop industrial parks where we attract investors to establish. And then we also have a small medium enterprises department where we facilitate and handle the small medium enterprises to grow and thrive. The question that you may ask would be, why invest in Uganda? Uganda is steadily growing, and some of the areas that we've really anchored and proved that we are the destination to come into when you're entering into Africa. We've been ranked as the top investment destination in Africa and East Africa by the Annual Investment Awards in United Arab Emirates for the last 3 years. That is from 2023, 24, and 25. But also Uganda is the fastest growing economy in East Africa. This can be justified by the steady foreign direct investment that has been flowing into the country. For the last 5 years, since 2020, we've had a 4 growth fold within the FDI market. We've grown from US $666 million, and currently the FDI, as of 2024, stands at $2.8 billion US dollars. The third area that we could talk about is the market. As an investor, when you're looking at investing into any region, of course, your interest would be, what is the market looking like? When you're investing into Uganda, you're not looking at only Uganda as a country, you're looking at the East African economy. The population currently in Uganda is approximately 47 million people. However, when we look at the East African region, we are 300 million people. So you're tapping into the 8 countries that are affiliated to the EAC region. And then also we are part of the Common Market and East African region, which is COMESA. And this has a population of 600 million people. But also, as my partners here, counterparts in Africa, in Private Sector Foundation Uganda, and then also Ministry of Trade will emphasize, we are part of the African Free Continental Trade Area, which has 54 African countries, and looking at a magnitude of $1.5 billion US worth of investment and the GDP across those countries. Uganda is an open economy. When we talk about openness of an economy, you can bring in your investments without any restriction as a foreign company. However, we also encourage you to partner with the domestic companies here in Uganda, but you can register fully as a foreign company and establish in Uganda with a partnership if you feel it's needed from the business aspect, but it's not restricted as a country. Uganda is among the top 10 industrial development countries, according to the African Development Bank 2023. And then also Uganda has been ranked as the third most rewarding economy, that is in Africa, by the Oxford Economics 2023. Uganda's population is very interesting. Currently, as I've stated, we are 46 million people approximately. However, our average age is about 16.7 years. And of this population of 46 people, you will notice that 75% of this population is below the age of 30. That is 30 years. So if you're to look at such an economy, this confirms that the population is trainable. There is enough skill set that can be utilized, and this will help in growing the economy, especially in the sectors we are looking at attracting, and we are promoting as a country, manufacturing and industrialization. Some of the sectors we are promoting as a country, we focus on the national development plan of the country, and the key sectors we are promoting include agriculture. Uganda is an agro-based country, and it's agriculture driven. So we are looking at adding value to the various commodities and produce we have, focusing on some key products like coffee, cocoa, and then also we have cotton that we want to revamp. So along this, we want to add value to all those produces, but we are also looking at the machinery side, which is agriculture equipment, like assembling of such equipment, and then the essential input like fertilizers that go with the sector. We have the tourism sector. This is really, Uganda is naturally endowed. It's a beautiful country. We have opportunities in accommodation development, that is the infrastructure, looking at high-end lodges, but also the tour and travel sector. All these are opportunities that can be invested into. We have a huge mineral resource base, a lot of reserves. We are in the process of exploration and quantifying the mineral resource base we have as a country. And some of the minerals we've identified in the country include iron ore, gold, tin, cobalt, limestone, and all these are available, but the key opportunities in here are in the exploration stage where we want to quantify the mineral reserves we have. And this is accompanied by the oil and gas sector in the extractives. This has taken up already, and we've explored quite a number of, we've explored quite a lot under this sector of oil and gas. But right now we are really advocating for the services provision that are feeding directly into the oil and gas sector because of the spills it cuts across the various sectors that we are promoting elsewhere, like agriculture and accommodation. We have information technology and communication. This sector, we are looking at telecommunications, ICT infrastructure development, software development, business processing outsourcing, and having ICT BPO parks established in the country to facilitate this sector. The service sector, to conclude, is quite elaborate, and under this we have the health sector. We are aggressively pushing pharmaceutical development. We have the financial sector, like the financial banks we have here. We really need to have a financial inclusion within the country. We have the education sector, and here we are focusing a lot on the vocational skill set, where we want to bring the technical expertise to the human resource that we have. And then also consultancy services, where we are pushing research and development within the country that will help us improve on the opportunities that we want to identify. I'm going to briefly talk about the incentives we have. We will share with all of you. We have the bankable projects booklets, where we have some projects that have feasibility studies and are looking for partnerships, but also viable opportunities that you can look into and get to understand what their costing looks like and what the rates of return would be if you decide to invest in the country. This we will share through our organizers so that you all get to see them in depth. Also, the tax incentives, we will share them so that you get to understand elaborately what the regime looks like. However, some of the key taxes include, we have the 10-year income tax holiday. Under this, we are trying to promote, I've hinted that we are really driving industrialization. So if a company is manufacturing, if a company is manufacturing and driving an export agenda that is for exports, you can qualify for 10-year income tax holiday where income tax is 30% in Uganda, so that is exempt for the next 10 years. If you're producing and exporting 80% of the produce that you are manufacturing in the country, this is across sectors such as agriculture, ICT, pharmaceuticals, assembling, warehousing. But also we are looking at the income threshold. If you're investing above 10 million US dollars in those particular sectors, you can also qualify for the 10-year income tax holiday. We are really emphasizing technology transfer and skilling the Ugandans. So for every cost that an investor incurs in training and skilling and research and development, all these are deductible costs. They will be deducted of your tax exposure once you've invested within the country. You realize most of the agriculture sector, the inputs have zero import duty, but also as Uganda Investment Authority have guided that we are developing and managing industrial parks because we really want to have industrialized companies and factories set up here. So we are also looking for partnership for any investor that is partnering with the government of Uganda to put in place and develop with the government an industrial park. You'll also qualify for the 10-year income tax holiday. To conclude, in efforts to ease doing business in Uganda, we have the one-stop center at Uganda Investment Authority. In this, we are working with different government agencies to ensure that we create seamless licensing processes, which is registration, but also reduce the time and cost of doing business. So at Uganda Investment Authority, we have a virtual and physical one-stop center. Here we have other government agencies that are key in ensuring that an investor can establish and start operating in Uganda, such as the Company Registration Bureau, which is URSB. We also have the tax identification body, Uganda Revenue Authority, where you can acquire your tax identification numbers, but also the taxes that are required. We have the immigration department, entries through the work permits, and then also the visa processing. We also have the utility bodies such as water and electricity. All these are the one-stop center. All this is aimed to ensure that you plug in through one entry point and get all the required licenses so that you establish and reduce the bureaucratic process that government wants to take out of this. And to encourage, most of these processes are all digitalized. So you can apply for a work permit, you can incorporate a company wherever you're located. So on behalf of the government of Uganda, as Uganda Investment Authority, we commit that our role is to facilitate and promote the opportunities and the investors that want to invest in Uganda. And we are readily available to give you any necessary guidance and advice, and also route you to the right offices that will facilitate you to establish in the country. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Rita. That was quite elaborate, Rita, on the current investment climate, the high potential sectors here in Uganda, and Uganda is an attractive destination for investment. I'll quickly turn to the panel now, and I'll start with Cleophas. Rita has handled the investment part. Let's talk trade now. And a quick question for you is how we are positioning Uganda to be the perfect trade partner and the gateway to the ESC and, of course, the Africa region. Listening to Rita, she was speaking about the AFCFTA. How is the ministry positioning Uganda to be the gateway?
Thank you, Maurice. Before I go into your question, let me appreciate Equity Bank. As government, we really appreciate the efforts that you are doing to bring us together, to bring the public sector and the private sector. Because as you have always heard, government rarely does business. If it does, it is you people in this room, the private sector, my colleague on the panel from the fuel sector who are doing business. So when you do this and seeing on the programs of the trade missions you have been doing, you are helping us to do our work and making our work quite easier to reach our objectives. I'm from the Ministry of Trade and I head the Department of External Trade. That's the department that does the part of the export. There is another department which does the part of the internal trade, but of course internal trade is the springboard of the external trade. If you are not competitive domestically, chances are 90%, if not 100, that you will not be competitive out there to export. So the main function of the ministry or the mandate is to put together policy, strategies, and law, regulations, and interventions to create a conducive environment for you to do business. So when you hear that, that simply means that the government does work to make trade and business possible. But the job of making trade and business happen lies squarely in the hands of the private sector. That is not to say that we leave you alone and don't do any other interventions which I'll shortly go into to enable trade happen. But the bigger ball is in your court. So as Minister of Trade, as I said, we do the strategies and the policies. One, we must ensure that the environment is conducive. How do we make the environment conducive? Starting with what my colleague here, Rita from UIS, said regarding the market. Because if you come to Uganda here and you are a serious investor, a serious trader, you are not only looking at producing and selling it to the domestic market. If you do that, it would be akin to growing, being a farmer, and you are a subsistence farmer. So if you want to be a true businessman to expand, you must be a commercial farmer, so to say. So the analogy is that if you only want to sell in the domestic market, then you are a subsistence trader or producer, so to say. So we have negotiated the markets. We started with the EAC, 330 million people around there, with a GDP of 280 billion, 8 countries. That's the market, the deepest integration in the world. At one time, we were even better than EU. Actually, the EU came to benchmark from the former East African community and went back. And ahead of us, we had our currency, we had our railway, we had our port, we had our post office, you would move from Kawale, come from down up to Mombasa without on a ticket of one train. So, but we are on the way, we are doing it. We have negotiated that. We are at the level of the customs union with the common external tariff so that we can protect some of our industries in the country. And then the third parties apply a different rate, what they call the common external tariff. We're in the common market with its four rights and the 4 freedoms. The 4 rights, the right of establishment, that is why Equity Kenyan company is here. And I'm sure you are enjoying with no discrimination. And those are some of the fruits of the common market. The freedom establishment and residence. The 4 freedoms, freedom movement of capital, movement of goods, services, and people. So all that is an environment that should enable you to do business. We expanded further to the COMESA, Common Market for East and Southern Africa. 800, now 600 people, 800 billion GDP. We're in the free trade area, meaning that goods can move from all the 20, they're now 21, Tunisia joined as well, can move duty-free, quota-free. So when you are here in Uganda, you are in the middle of the market, COMESA, EAC. Then we go to the AFCTA, which we signed recently. We were one of the people to ratify it. A market of $3.4 trillion GDP, 1.4 billion people. We're adding another 500 million. bringing in large economies like Algeria, Morocco, South Africa, Nigeria, rather, yes, Ghana, which are not part of the commerce. So the market is there. We have made it possible for you to do what? To trade. The job now, which Equity is doing so well, is to make that trade happen. We are logistically, as you asked what we want to do, we have done infrastructure. You know, of course, trade cannot be, some of the things we are doing are not necessarily all vested in trade. That is why government, in its wisdom, came up with the program-based budgeting, because they know that if for you to trade, you need infrastructure. It is not Minister of Trade which builds the rail, which builds the maritime, the air time, I mean the air transport. But all those come in to facilitate us as the logistic hub. In the middle of Africa, it is about 3,400 kilometers to Cairo and almost the same to South Africa, Cape Town. So we have the potential, if we can improve our infrastructure, the SGR, the maritime, the air. Uganda Airlines is doing so well. We are now opening next month our flight to Gatwick, London. We've done Abuja, we've done Kinshasa, we've done Mumbai, and the region. So we are definitely on the right path. So Maurice, let me stop there. That is what we are doing at the ministry. Thank you.
Thank you, Clopas, and I'll come back to you because we want to speak about what else you're doing to facilitate the more specifically the logistical end of that conversation in connecting the countries. Stephen, I want to come to you. The Private Sector Foundation, the umbrella body for the private sector. Speak to us first of all about your role in advocating for a favorable business environment, favorable policy environment in the country that would favor investors who are joining us online to be able to make Uganda their destination of choice.
Thank you very much, Maurice, and good afternoon to everybody. Again, I join my voice to thank and congratulate Equity Bank for offering such an enabling platform for all of us. The PSFU is the umbrella body of the private sector in Uganda. We are celebrating 30 years now, having started in 1995. We started with 11 members. We are now over 340. But we're not just members. We are what we're called a BMO, a business member organization. What essentially that means is that we are structured under sectors. And the sectors have associations. And those associations have sub-associations, which then evolve individual companies. So we have 12 sectors of the private sector. And many of them have been mentioned here, you know, manufacturing, agriculture, ICT, financial services, where Equity falls, professional services, health, education, logistics and transport, hospitality and tourism, construction and real estate. And about 2 years ago, we started a very interesting sector called the creatives. So it's essentially the entire economy coming under one umbrella body called the PSFU. And our work is to really facilitate and create the policies that enable businesses to do one thing. It is to thrive. And our motto is business growth is our business. And let me say that the Equity Bank is a member of PSFU under the Uganda Bankers Association and under the sector of financial services. So having said that, of course, our work is to ensure that we create a private sector voice, to engage government constantly, again, in the context of creating that enabling environment. We don't do that just as a country. We're also part of another group of apex bodies. So for example, in Kenya, our sister agency is the KEPSA, Kenya Private Sector Alliance. We have the Tanzania Private Sector Foundation. We have the Rwanda Private Sector Alliance. South Sudan Chamber of Commerce. We have FEC in the DRC and another group in Somalia. And we've been growing. We are also the focal point for COMESA, Business Council, and we also sit on the SCFTA. We've created something now recently, about 2 or 3 years ago, the African Business Council. Again, is to create that enabling environment for private sector to thrive. Now, like the other members have said, we are really interested not just to enable people, but to create that sustainability of ensuring that we support, especially that our economies are largely, from a pyramidical point of view, SME-led. We have micro businesses, we have small and medium enterprises, but in the context of ensuring that they grow, we give business development support, and then we knock on government's doors to create that enabling environment. So you'll hear a lot of our voices in the context of tax, on infrastructure, on things to do with, we are now even a voice on the issue of peace and regional security, because again, when one part gets a cold, the other part grabs the whole thing. So for now, I'll just stop at that, but I want to just emphasize one thing, that Africa, and particularly this region of East Africa, has the fastest growing movement for businesses. Again, why? It's because the East African region, and particularly Uganda, has created those enablers. The government of Uganda has been very strong, and I can tell you as I conclude that in the last 4 years alone, because of your participation as a member of PSFU and the entire business, national and regional business engagement, we have now pushed for almost 82% of the budget framework policies that come out. And how do we do that? We convene, we dialogue, we engage. And now we even took a regional position to say, because all the East African budgets are read on the same day, this for the ESE, we have insisted that the private sector voice meets, convenes, and ensures that we facilitate the conversations that will then inform the next budget framework paper. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Stephen. And later, I am going to ask you to speak to your initiatives and partnership support readiness for investors when they come into the country. That's a little later, but I want to go to our client, Singh Roshan, on doing business in Uganda, a client's perspective. We want to listen, briefly to your personal journey of investing in Uganda and doing business here in Uganda, and what really attracted you to this country. And just explain what you exactly do. Yes.
Good afternoon, everyone. First of all, many congrats to Team Equity. You guys are doing a fantastic job. I can say it's a customer-friendly bank. So it's from the bottom of the heart. From the day I associated with Equity, they always supported me, even though not 100%, but to the maximum. But I'm happy. Okay. Uganda is a pearl of Africa, as everybody knows. But in my context, it's my slogan. It's not pearl of Africa. Maybe we should call it a diamond of Africa. So in coming times, maybe the slogan will change. Maybe it will be a diamond of Africa. So I landed up in Uganda in 2013. I won't say it was a planned one. It was an unplanned one. I have joined a petroleum company in Tanzania in 2011 after completing my training and my employment with an American company called Chevron. So 2011, I was in Tanzania. 2013, that company wanted to open a unit in Uganda. So they told me, pack a bag, let's go to Uganda and let's explore the opportunities. We came, and trust me, the moment I came out of the airport, my first time, Entebbe airport, I'm coming out, the kind of, reception which I received, the welcome. and there's no friendly behavior from the local people. It was really very good, down to earth, simple, and very, very, what you call it, a good hospitality, which we received, so, which I was not expecting, trust me. In our Asian world, we had different story about, so, but when I came over here, so maybe in a couple of days, as I spent in Uganda, maybe somebody told me, somebody comes to Uganda, they don't go back. 3 times if you drink a water of Nile, no, 3 times you have to come back. So in practical, it has happened with me. So we established successfully the petroleum company called Oilcom in 2013 in Uganda, and it's doing well. We took over Ashi Impex. I was part of it when Oilcom Uganda started. Maybe I joined them after 1 year. And from there, journey began. Then I shifted to City Oil. I was with City Oil for a few years, where we constructed a few good stations. And it's milestone stations which country has today, one of the best stations, infrastructure, petrol stations we have. Then Mount Meru from Arusha, Mount Meru, Uganda, Tanzania. They wanted to enter in petroleum sector in Uganda. They were into the milling business before, but they wanted to open up a petroleum sector, where maybe fortunately I was one of the chosen one, where I became the managing director for Mount Meru Petroleum Uganda, which we started in 2016. And that investment, in petroleum came in. So in 2 years' time, we had around 25 stations, 20 tankers, fuel tankers. And we had a plan of, diversifying in other clean energy business. But in the meantime, 2019, I decided, let me do something for myself and my next generation, and for the people of Uganda at my own capacity, what I can do. So 2019, Ramex Petroleum was born in October 2019, where we started with one petrol station at a place called Chigogwa near Matuga. But along with that, I wanted to start something clean, give an environment, society, a clean energy. So I started a LPG. And I appointed few young entrepreneurs, and we gave them dealership. Zero investment, take my product, create employment for yourself. And it clicked. We opened 25 shops in and around Kampala suburb, small kiosk. We gave them. We made a kiosk. We gave them the gas. Please do the business. And we saw that, yes, there is an ample amount of opportunity where we can give to this young, entrepreneur who is especially struggling with the working capital. Make a product, give it to them, and in a small way, they can give you a big business. And here I've seen the young, as you have, madam, you have rightly quoted, that we have around 75% population below 30 years. And average age is around 16, 17. So we have young population, and they can become our future entrepreneurs. If a support from financial institutions, from the government, if they get a support. You spoke about the vocational training. Yes, it is needed. Those days are gone where conventional education used to help. Now the time has come where you need to have a professional education. Professionalists, you have to have a professional knowledge. So the next generation, the government should promote and say that was at a very young age, they should assess and see a potential that if this person has a capacity to become a doctor, let him pursue a medical field. If he has a potential to become an engineer, let him pursue engineering field. If he has a potential to become a businessman, if you see your kid is good in business, trading and all, talking sensible, bringing good ideas. So maybe you should promote him to become an entrepreneur. If he's a sportsman, promote him to go for a sports. So we have to empower our young generation to select a profession as per their talent, not as per what we want. As a parent, what we say, no, you become this, you become that, you become a lawyer, you go and do government job. No, you become a politician. So as a customer, I want to say, Uganda has ample amount of opportunities. There are many untapped resources which are available, which can be tapped with public and private partnership. Private, we can't do much. Publicly, you can do everything. But if there is a public and private partnership, those untapped resources like minerals, which are available in the country, untapped. Recent discovery was iron ore. But do we have a resource called coal to make a sponge iron? So iron ore is there, but the required resource to convert that iron ore, that resource, to a finished product called sponge iron, and then later, that is not available. Here, the public, the government support need to be required. If it's not available, help us to import. Bring that resource. Mix it. Instead of iron ore flowing out at a throwaway price, better stays here. That facilities are provided, and that resource can be converted into finished product. Second, I've seen the dairy product. Milk is available in abundance in the country. And now it's a season, peak season, where milk is available too much. But at times, due to lack of available buyers, I have seen farmers throwing away their milk. It's not coming. It's not getting consumed because they don't have an adequate buyers to buy those products, especially on the season, peak season, where the production is high, but buyer is not there. So again, public-private partnership. Open up a dairy farm. Make a finished product like powder milk. Now the milk is available in huge quantity. Make a powder milk, export. And it has a good amount of, a very good market in Middle East and in Europe. It's a very good market. Whey protein. When you make a powder milk out of the milk, and you extract, the water is left behind. That water can be used to make a whey protein, which pharmaceutical industries they use in making all these multivitamin products. Making cheese, long life cheese. But see, producing a milk and consuming in a country, okay, you have to fill your stomach. I'm not against it. But that is not business. In the real sense, business is give it a shape where it can earn few folds and bring a foreign exchange for the country. That should be one of the objectives. So we have to find a way out how those can be tapped. Like sunflower, we have to promote sunflower plantation. Sunflower oil is too much in demand in European countries. And Uganda has an environment and a climate and has a soil where if it is promoted, it can be a good business.
I'll come to you, Mr. Singh. I'll come back to you. And that's when we speak to the other opportunities.
About my petroleum.
As an investor, I'll come back to you. But I wanted Cleopas to quickly talk to us about the infrastructure, because whatever the product we're going to put on the market, we must get it into the market. We must get it into the region. We must get it onto the continent. Talk to us about what the country is doing, Uganda is doing, and the region is doing to build the infrastructure necessary for export of the products that Mr. Singh is talking about.
Thank you. Yes, once again, as a ministry, let me confine myself to what the ministry is doing specifically in the infrastructure to support the perpetuation, let me use that word, products, exports from this country. I will speak to both the hard infrastructure and the soft infrastructure. On the side of the hard infrastructure, you have had the course of the one-stop border posts. This was an initiative with the development partners where we are trying to remove borders. Previously, those of you who have been engaged in trade, he will tell you that trucks and trucks would line up waiting for clearance. You clear on the side of Uganda, you clear on the side of Rwanda, and it was taking time. And the business person will tell you that time is money, and anyone, even the bank, time is money, and every one of us. So that one-stop border post now brings together the agencies across the two countries, the congruent borders, so that they sit in one place. When you clear once in Uganda, you just cross and go. That's one of them. We have also built as the ministry now, also again through development partners, what we call border export zones. We have done that in Mpondwe. Those of you who have been there, we have done in warehouses in Kabale, in Bunagana, in Neregu, in Maraba, in Busia. These ones are small, not so small, but they are areas of basic value addition. For instance, if you bring, say, your maize and you want to do transshipment, consolidate, and put on a bigger consignment, these are facilities where you can do the cleaning, the packing, and you label, so that you don't have to do it in open space and find that your products, say, if they are agricultural products, they get contaminated. This was also done actually in response of one of the neighboring countries which would order for products, goods from our countries, among the many reasons. And when they reach there, along the way, sometimes you are waylaid, they take your products, they don't pay you. So we said, let's put these border markets here. So whoever wants to come and take our goods will come, negotiate, you agree, and they take the goods, pay you and take the goods. These facilities, once completed, we're asking actually for additional funding to expand them. We will have banks, banking institutions, we'll have recreational centers, hospitals, name it. It will be a small town, so to say, but actually for facilitating trade. We have also, that's the major infrastructure hardcore, brick and mortar. So let me go in the soft policy environment we have done to ensure that there is a faster and turnaround time. We have what they call the simplified trade regime. When we did an analysis at the borders, you find that a truck carrying Mr. Marik, is it Mr. Marik? Mr. Singh's products worth millions of dollars, you find an SME also lining behind, waiting to be cleared through the same what? Through the same channel. So we introduced what they call the trade information desks. And we manned by trade information desk officers. This one is called the simplified trade regime. So if you have goods not exceeding $2,000, you have a simplified customs declaration, you have a simplified rules of origin, certificate of rules of origin. A certificate of rules of origin is simply an indication that your goods, if it is a preferential certificate, that your goods originate from that country and are eligible to benefit from preferential treatment, that is lower tariffs. So now our small traders, our SMEs, mainly the youth, women, and in some cases, if you go to Mpondwe, you'll find that there's a big population of people with disabilities. They are using that channel, and you find that it has helped the traders to move from informality to formality, because now we can use that trade information desk to encourage them. We have got in the movement, what you may know it again, Mr. Singh, what they call the yellow card. It is a scheme whereby when you take insurance to transit across the whole region in East Africa, in COMESA, you can take your insurance from Kenya and you transit all the countries. Previously, if you caused, say, an accident in Uganda and you're on a Kenyan truck, you'd have to first clear with whoever, settle with whoever you have caused an accident before you can move. So imagine you have knocked a border person in Kampala, you are carrying fruits maybe to DRC Congo, you must first settle with them 2, 3, 4 days, your goods are spoiled. What happens now is that you just talk to the bureau, the Ugandan bureau, which now is the reinsurance in Uganda. You say, I've gotten an accident, I have got my yellow card slip. They let you go and they settle in the country. We have got the RCTG, it's called Regional Customs Transit Guarantee, where again, if you are transiting again to use the Mombasa to DRC Congo, say, you'd have to execute a bond equivalent to the amount of taxes you'd have to pay if you short-landed your goods, say in Kenya or Uganda. So imagine you execute a bond in Kenya, you retire it at Busia, you execute another one for Uganda, you retire it at Mpondwe. All that is capital being held and time. But now you can do a regional one with banks, with insurance companies, and you move. And again, there is a bureau with the insurance companies and banks across the region. We have got electronic cargo tracking system, the IT systems, the electronic single window where you can get all those your SPS certificates, rules of origin, all in one go. All that intended, Maurice and colleagues and the people listening to us online, intended to simplify the experience of the business person so that he doesn't have to run from here to Entebbe for the SPS certificate. SPS is center and find for sanitary certificate you need for, say, vegetables, food and animal. Yes. So that's what we are doing, sir. All right. Both at the hardcore, as I said, and the soft.
All right. Thank you, Cleopas. Our time is fast spent, but very quickly, I want to come to Rita and then Stephen. Rita, I want you to speak specifically to the support mechanisms you have in place for investors who are coming into the country looking to enter the Ugandan market. Very quickly, in about 30 seconds, can you do that?
Thank you, Maurice. I talked about the entry point definitely will be the one-stop center, because as an investor comes in, they need to have permits and be legally registered and incorporated in Uganda. So what we've done as the entry point and the first key activity is to create and work with the government agencies to have all the issuance of licenses and permits that are entry point, gazetted and under one roof. And also within these, virtually not all of them have been on the same platform, but we are in the process of having all of them have a single window virtual entry point, but all of them are now virtually accessible. And this includes even the work permits and visas. You can attest to that. At least you can apply for a visa online. You can get your company incorporated online. You can get an investment license, and these can be done within 24 hours as we speak. You can get your tax identification number within hours, even for as long as you have the right documents in place. So what we are doing at UIA, because this is where you start from, is to ensure that your establishment and starting to legalize your business in the country is simplified and rule out bureaucracy and the time and the cost that is attached to that process. So I think in summary, that's what we are really emphasizing right now.
All right, and Stephen, very quickly on the question I posed to you before, on your role in supporting the investors in country, but also building partnerships and, of course, helping them identify the strategic sectors or high-profile sectors that they would invest in.
Thank you very much. I'll just build on Rita. PSFU was the implementing partner of government and the World Bank that helped build the one-stop center. So we were in the trenches in the context, again, of ensuring that the private sector or any player who is coming as an investor has a one-stop center. And we cut a mountain of, debris, if you like, to be able to establish. Why? Ladies and gentlemen, Africa has 54 countries. If you have a global perspective, we are competing with 188 countries. Why should someone invest in your country? If you delay me, money hates noise, it hates disorganization. I'll go to another country. There are countries with very serious incentives. So for us as business people, we are interested in profit. And I know that equity, its primary objective, its lowest common denominator is to make money. True or false? True. So what we did is to say, government, we are your partner. We shall support, facilitate, and help because we are fundamentally interested in making money as private sector. But 2, we want to do it seamlessly. 3, we want to grow capacity. And that is why at PSFU, we encourage every member, every business, 1, to be a member of an association. So Equity is a member of the Uganda Bankers Association. Uganda Bankers Association is a member of the financial sector. And the financial sector is the biggest facilitator of business. Simple. So in our interests, we have grown from just a paltry 5 banks in 1995. We now have over 34. We have microfinance institutions. So our work is really to facilitate, and we do that very well. Now, on a very self-interest position, we work closely with Equity Bank. We've just started a $216 million program under a project called GROW, Generating Opportunities for Women. And I want to thank Equity for being one of those proficient banks that has supported women in business. And clearly, they are helping the SME sector. And the SME sector is big. Every big company in Uganda, the large taxpayers were once a garage company, a kiosk. They've grown, but why? They've been all these enabling environments that have helped them succeed. And we do that very well at PSFU, and we encourage every member to come and join us, and we shall support them. Thank you.
So clearly, Equity Bank is just not only doing business, but also, of course, facilitating the social transformation of our people. And Singh, to you very quickly, the role of Equity Bank in your journey in Uganda. You want to speak to that very quickly?
Yep. Equity Bank has always supported me, especially with the product called Easy Stock Finance, which is under. So that is a good product, which really helped entrepreneurs, especially the SMEs. And even my other businesses, they have helped me, like my business of tour and travel. I have a dairy business, dairy, and a product of Nile Ply, Hima Cement, then your Kinyara Sugar, Tasco Cooking Oil, Azam Flour. So those are small items. Yes, Equity Bank has always supported me. And they gave me a quick solution all the time. One phone call away, and I get answer very soon. All your clients, keep supporting Uganda and Africa. Thank you.
And just as a rider, and I really appreciate that you highlight the partnership. But as an investor, and since as a member of the private sector here in Uganda, what advice would you give an investor very quickly who is coming into the market on considering Uganda as a destination or investment destination?
See, Uganda is people friendly. People are very friendly. Government is very liberal, supportive. Those stringent laws are not there. As Rita very clearly explained, in 24 hours, the company can be registered. TIN number can be generated if documents are okay. Other, tax holidays are available for 10 years, for the new entrepreneurs. And if somebody wants to invest, I'm here. Come and invest in my company. Ramex Petroleum.
Excellent. And I'm happy you said that, because there are a couple of people in the chat box, at least see one, who said they were willing to invest in a pre-developed project. Yes. And so clearly you're one of those who's already pre-developed. And you're open to doing business. All right, 30 seconds. I'll start with you, Claire, first. Make a case for Uganda. Why Uganda?
Thank you, Maurice, and listeners. Uganda, as Singh has clearly said, is a diamond. You have shifted us to another level.
Pearl to diamond.
This is a country where you throw a bean anywhere and it will germinate. This is a country, as he said, where you can, not to encourage laziness, His Excellency already says it, you can eat even when you are not working. That shows you that it has, if you can eat when you are not working, then how much more can you get when you are working? It shows you that it is really a part of Africa.
All right. Thank you. Excellent. Rita, if you could do it in 10.
Okay, thank you, Maurice. I'll give 2 reasons. First of all, Uganda is a resource-based country. We have agriculture, which comes naturally. So they are advanced, there are quite a range of products that we can add value to along the agricultural value chain, but also the mineral resource base is huge. This is all untapped into potential. So it's really virgin. For an investor where we are looking at growing 10 years to come or 20, I think it would be wise to invest in Uganda right now when it's still very open and virgin and the opportunities are immense. The second one, to conclude, Uganda is not landlocked, as they say. We are land-linked. You look at Uganda as a hub to distribute to the rest of East Africa. all the East African countries around Uganda. So Uganda can really be a focal point for you to tap into the region when you're looking at your market potential. Thank you.
All right, Stephen?
Mine is to Equity Bank. I think in business, we have a saying that find the gap and market the gap. There are so many gaps in this country, massive gaps in education, in health. Start to move away from traditional areas. Go into the non-traditional. The opportunities are massive, and this country has tremendous opportunities that you can take advantage of. I would just tip you on your research and development department. You come and we talk. There's massive opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Stephen, and I really want to thank you all. I want to appreciate our online community. I did try to look for questions, but they were mostly comments, and I'm glad the team did come back to you. I want to appreciate Hassan, who was on the platform, and he made a couple of suggestions and made a couple of requests. You've been replied. I want to appreciate Michael Okenge, who was speaking to opportunities for Ugandan exporters into Canada. Again, this is information that will be shared with our colleagues. And also, Michelle, we want to appreciate you for joining us on the platform. And for all of you who joined us virtually, we want to thank you so much. I want to quickly appreciate our panelists who joined us, Mr. Singh, Mr. Stephen, Rita, and Cleophas for joining us. And we apologize for overrunning our time. May I now throw it over to Ms. Mavish Malik, our Associate Director, Trade Relations, Equity Group Holdings, for closing remarks.
Thank you very much, Maurice, and good afternoon to everybody. We're very grateful for your attendance at our webinar today, and we hope you enjoyed our knowledge series. It's been a great pleasure connecting with such a dynamic group of leaders, entrepreneurs, and change makers from around the world. Today's session has been more than a conversation. It was a launch pad. We've heard from distinguished speakers, gained valuable insights, and seen just how much promise Uganda holds as a vibrant hub for business, trade, and economic growth. But more importantly, we've extended an invitation to join us in person this May for the Trade and Investment Roadshow to Tanzania and Uganda. At Equity Group, we believe in turning insights into action. Our roadshows are designed to open real doors, building partnerships, discovering opportunities, and creating lasting impact across the region. This is your chance to engage directly with local stakeholders, explore emerging markets, and be part of Africa's growth story in a tangible, transformative way. Registration is open until Wednesday, 30th April, and spaces are limited. So if you're interested, don't delay. We have already shared the link in the chat. On behalf of Equity Group, our partners, and all the speakers who shared their time and expertise today, thank you. Let's keep the conversation going, build new connections, and shape the future of trade and investment in Africa together. Until next time, stay well, and we look forward to seeing many of you in both Dar es Salaam and Kampala. Good afternoon.